Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have with me in the studio once again our friend Professor Titus Ibekwe. Prof, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Professor Titus Ibekwe is an otorhinolaryngologist, meaning that he is an ENT professor. And we have his wife, who is Dr. Mrs. Perpetua Ibekwe, who is a dermatologist. So as you approach the human being, the first thing you see is the skin. So you have expert of the skin. Then the other thing is that the air is taken through the nose. So you have the doctor of the nose. So in the family, they have all it takes to take care of our health. Now, Prof and Dr. Ibekwe, we have come to discuss COVID-19 matters arising. We have had 8-9 months of COVID-19, and the year is about to end. People in other parts of the world are talking of a second wave. Thank God, this country has been protected from any major wave. Even the first wave in Europe and America didn't hit us too badly. We lost a number of people. It destabilized, dislocated us in many ways, but by the grace of God, it's not like it was expected to happen in Africa and in this country. And then right now, they are afraid in Europe because they are shutting down a second lockdown. We are not having a second lockdown because it's not so bad. I want to ask, what are the benefits, opportunities that came with the COVID-19, and challenges and lessons from a medical point of view? From point of view of hospitals, how did the COVID-19 phenomenon, how did it shake the hospitals and medical practice in this country? What did it show about our readiness or lack of readiness for epidemics and pandemics? Then what have we gained? What lessons have we learned? Then later maybe we will discuss about family life, since I'm discussing with a couple. What did COVID-19 bring to the family? From the positive point of view, in terms of benefits, because they say, we discussed on this program a few weeks ago, don't let any serious crisis go to waste. That for children of God, no crisis is a waste, should be a waste. We should reap some benefit from every serious crisis, because a crisis is a dangerous opportunity. So, Prof, what are the benefits we have gotten from this serious crisis, and what are the challenges and lessons?
Thank you very much, Father. I think you've said it all. You've encapsulated that. It is only in challenges that you'll be able to reap the best if you actually analyze the situation properly. COVID-19 is also a disease of second chance. A
disease of second chance.
Yes, because it has exposed the weaknesses that we have, especially in the health system, not only in Nigeria, but across the globe. Even developed countries that thought that they have it all, they saw a lot of weaknesses in the system. So it is an opportunity to look inwards and be able to, beef up our healthcare system. Today, we are talking of a healthcare system in Nigeria that is so fragile, that is unable to cater for the populace and the basic needs. The reality is that we have one of the best quality, when you talk of workforce. In
the workforce
yes.
in the healthcare sector.
Quality workforce. Though we talk of the number, they are not enough. But these are the same set of people that if they are given opportunity outside the country, they excel. But we talk of the equipments that they are supposed to work with.
The environment.
Very, very obsolete and not truly supportive. So they're using their ingenuity to be able to shoulder, the healthcare system in the country. And all these weaknesses were totally exposed during this period of COVID-19. So it's for us to not sit down there and be crying, but to, leverage on this opportunity and righten all our wrongs. It was said that in this country, in 2000, the entire African nation, they had a meeting
in Abuja.
And scientifically they come up with 15% minimum to be invested into the health sector in order for you to be able to have a health system that is supportive to the nation and to the populace.
And it was called Abuja Declaration.
Abuja Declaration. But since then, Father, we have not done up to 50% of that. We see ourselves dancing around 4%. And even the type of budgetary system that we run, we realize that we won't even be able to implement even the 4% before the year ends. So it is a system that is actually crying for help and struggling and crippling, if not for the quality of the health staff that we have in the country. Everything would have been collapsed.
The recommended minimum investment in health care is 15%.
Yeah.
Minimum investment in healthcare, 15% of the overall budget of the country.
That's right.
The recommended minimum investment in education is 26%.
That's right.
Now, when we are running a society where we cannot have 6-7% in health and we cannot have 7-8% in education, what are we doing to ourselves? And then there are sectors that are not as important that we are wasting resources on, like overhead. I mean, you have, every day now we are multiplying parastatals and agencies with chief executives and with a retinue with a board and board members, and so much money is going to waste in all this. Madam, how has it affected actual hospital functioning?
Yeah, one of the things that adversely how it affected hospital functioning was that looking at the people in private sector, a lot of them didn't have patients anymore. So they had low patient outcome output because people were made to stay at home.
Yeah.
People were not afraid to go to work. So a lot of people that are in the private sector, in hospital, private hospitals, were really struggling to survive during the lockdown. One of the benefits I would say that I see that came out of COVID is the fact that right now you can actually do molecular analysis in every state of the Federation.
Which was not the case.
Which was not the case. Well, as a medical student, they were teaching me about viruses. That was when I knew that majority of the viruses that we have in the world are actually located in Africa. They are actually originated from Africa, and they
I thought it's China. I thought it's China.
In Africa,
SARS and all those things are China.
We are most of the time that
Trump calls it China virus.
Most of the time that we assume that we have malaria, they're actually viruses that we have. And all this while we've not been able to say this is where you can diagnose a virus, until COVID came up. And now, initially everybody was like, okay, the NCDC and the people in Irua will do the diagnosis. And they realized that you can't continue that way. That was what COVID opened the eyes of people, of the government, to see you can't continue that way. I only pray that once this whole COVID-19 thing is over, that we could actually continue to make use of this equipment and not leave it obsolete.
So in almost every state now,
you can diagnose COVID-19
viruses now.
Yeah.
That's
and then
great.
the other benefit I see is the aspect of funding for research.
Yes.
This is the first time CBN came out with a huge sum of money asking for people. Yeah. Nobody knew that this could happen. Most times the TED fund came up because of the fight of ASU, but TED fund alone was the source of research for lecturers to do research.
Academic research, yes.
For academic research. But now you have CBN coming up, and we're really calling and hoping that other people can put up funds and bring it out there. Like Prof said, we have the mind, we have the intellectuals that can do this. Why do we always have to rely on those from outside? Once we have funding, and the truth is that for research funding, if the research funding is coming from America, they are likely to give their own people first before they consider
and give priority to diseases that concern them.
Concerns them, yes.
Our tropical diseases are our business.
Yeah.
And one of the, if you look through all the diseases that we have in the world, the ones that we have good treatment for and clear guidelines on how to manage are the ones that affect people from the developing countries. Yeah. And so I feel that this is one of the things as a health sector we've benefited from.
I mean, when a population, when a country has not taken care of the minimum requirements for health of its people, how can we make progress in any other area?
Yes.
I mean, health is wealth, as we say. Yeah. So if people have not taken care of this, and if we look around, we see Nigerian doctors trained in this country who go out, specialize, and begin to make waves in Europe and America. Right. So when it comes to natural endowment, we have it.
Yes.
And how do you see this critical scenario where with the little resources we have, we train our young men and women and we export them to go and help people in richer countries?
Very pathetic.
I mean, policymakers need to take a close look at this. Yeah. People will take their qualification as medical doctor and be begging for visa to go to some miserable country who know the value of this medical doctor. So it's something that I think the way the entire public recently joined the youths to call for better funding of the police, of the lower ranks of the police, so that they won't be earning 30, 40,000 and be carrying gun. I think the population need to join hands to say, look, don't be wasting our resources by training doctors and allowing them to leave because you have not provided the environment for them to flourish.
No, Father, I feel that it's not only in the hands of the government. There's so little the government can do, or so far how they can reach. If you are looking at most of this outside the countries that you use as examples, you realize that a lot of funding for hospitals
are
private initiatives. The government, even though the National Health Insurance Scheme is not so clear to most of us Nigerians, but it was supposed to be a starting point, where people can put in something every month and use that to take care of their health if anything should arise. It's so unfortunate that we will not be able to develop it in such a way that it will benefit all. And most of the time it's through the health insurance that people are assured of getting quality health.
I wonder, Prof, do we have up to 5% of Nigerians today insured, do you think?
The coverage?
Coverage.
Well, the coverage, nobody is 100% sure of what it has been. At the time, figure came out that was talking about 3%. At the time, it was 6%. But further, out-of-pocket expense is not fashionable in any part of the world. It is insurance system. And you should aim at covering close to 100% of your population.
Do you know that Rwanda has 95%?
Yes, and Ghana has over 60% coverage.
Rwanda has 95% health. I was at a health conference in Arusha in Tanzania.
Yes.
And people who came from different countries were saying the percentage of their own. I was too ashamed to talk about our own. Because how can Nigeria be talking of 5-6% when Rwanda has 95% and Ghana has 60%
coverage? You see, so that lies the problem. She hit the nail on the head. So it's a holistic issue. And we're talking of our medical, personnel leaving the country in droves. A lot of them is not out of their own will. It's out of frustration. And these developed countries are making meal of that. That's one other problem that came with this COVID. Because down there in places like the United Kingdom, in Saudi Arabia, and indeed other developed countries, they realized that even the pressure of the COVID was so much on their medical and facilities and system. And places like United Kingdom, their own medical personnel, a lot of them were migrating, going to Canada, going to Australia, where they're having like times 3, times 4 what was being offered to them there. And they have now to fall back on Africa to come and poach and sweep all our medical people, promise them everything heaven and earth that they need and take them over there. So we'll keep on training and
losing the people we have trained, the few we have trained.
And it has gone beyond just coming for, the medical experts. all right, those who are specialists.
They are now coming
down for the resident doctors. The resident doctors
last year medical students.
Yes, are going on daily basis. And now they are coming down to poaching medical students who are in clinical,
final year.
Is that so?
Yes. Take them over there and say, just come over to our institution. We'll give you 1 year training more and deploy you immediately. So it is a dangerous terrain that we're going at. And I think policymakers and indeed everybody should be awake to this responsibility. But there comes a time, if we continue this way, that will not even have people who will treat us. And it's going to be terrible, Father.
And if we have our experience as medical training is a discipleship kind of training.
Right, yes.
It is apprenticeship.
That's correct.
So you constantly need a pool of experts with experience to train the young ones, because you need to be an apprentice under somebody experienced.
Exactly.
So if those experienced hands are going out,
and even the ones they are training are also living in droves, so that leaves us with nothing if care is not taken. And that's what we are talking about. And sometimes it will be as if one is complaining so much. Okay, and every hand should be on deck, not just the government, as you rightly said. Even the private sector should also look into this problem.
Private sector should look into it, but you see, if the government obliges by the minimum requirement of 15%, which the government signed to in the Abuja Declaration.
That's right.
Then we can now say, look, this 15% of the budget is only 3-4 trillion. 16% is nothing. Why don't private agencies? But when the government itself, that is supposed to nudge the private agencies to support, cannot even bring 5% of the budget, 6% of the budget. So where is the leadership? Because it's the government should play the role of leader in this. Private people begin to invest in health. What are the incentives from government? What are the tax breaks?
Yes.
What are all these? So if the government does not consider it priority, then all those incentives will not be put into the structure of the society.
You are very right, madam.
You know. So we really need, which is why every dimension of our problems in this country go back to leadership. It just go back to leadership. Like what I was saying earlier in the day, if people have options of traveling out for their own health care and abandon the rest of us to the poor facilities here, this is what has been happening. But one of the lessons of COVID was that you couldn't travel.
A disease of equal opportunity.
You call it disease of equal opportunity. So you guys saw in your hospital, you saw people whom you have never seen before.
High and mighty. Yes.
Yeah, some mighty people, and they came along with some small people. Yeah. So family, how did this affect family life?
Let us start.
Manager of family.
Personally, Father, it was a period where this was the longest period I've really stayed with my children. So I got to know them. We got closer. There were some frustrations here and there, especially with the schooling. Like having 4 children, you had to coach each one in their own different levels. So that was quite challenging.
You didn't need to coach the big one now. The big one is now becoming... Can coach you in certain subjects.
Not like coaching, but you need to be sure that the big one is doing what they're supposed to. So you are like supervising these 2, and you have to coach 1 or 2. So it's one of the strains of.
I mean, your first sentence. This was the longest period I spent with these children. I mean, for me, it's a wonderful benefit.
Yes.
That. For once, family life became important for many people.
That's right.
Not that they planned it, but they had no choice. They were not teachers to offload this. So you took your problem as your own.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Actually, it encouraged bonding. Bonding,
the much needed family bonding.
Yes, the togetherness, the oneness in the family. We have to sit down and now develop certain programs
that we're doing together.
Hour of the day, it is time for mass. It is recorded, and at the time, everybody fall in line. So life became a lot very interesting. And you had this opportunity to know some of them better and look at certain things they're doing and say, don't go this way. It has not been there.
Certain things some teachers knew that some parents did not know. The parents now discovered certain things. I thought it was a wonderful opportunity. Well, the doctors, you guys were busy, but for some other people who couldn't go to work at all, there were people who couldn't go to work at all. Rather than just lament the losses, it's an opportunity to go on some kind of retreat, to be on some kind of a retreat, which has its own benefits. And so, I mean, we are told, for example, that some animals, some creatures that the pollution were driving into extinction, they flourished.
That's right. All the aircraft and so they were all grounded. Even the ozone layer and all the atmosphere was found to be a lot clearer. You go to places like China that had this quantum of
industries.
Yes. Leading to environmental
pollution. I mean, you couldn't look at the sky.
They were reporting that everywhere, very clear.
Blue sky. They were seeing the blue sky.
Yes, the sea lives. A lot of animals were now flourishing. Even the one that were almost facing the period of extinct. So that's also positive to take away from this COVID.
Which the lesson of that whole news that went all over the world about how the creatures were coming up and things were flourishing in nature shows that human beings are the problem in nature.
Father, but even though these things were coming back to life, majority of human beings were losing their jobs. People were not working, and they had to work to.
Yeah, it means we need to reorganize society in such a way that nature can be given a break now and again.
Yeah,
that's right.
The kind of break that was imposed on us by COVID, that we actually plan our lives to give nature that kind of break.
Yes.
Which in the traditional farming system we had.
Yes.
What did you call it? Shifting cultivation or something? We had it.
You give time.
You cultivate this part of your land for several years. Then you allow it to take a rest and move to another place, so that new plants can grow, new seedlings, and so on and so forth. Because if you keep beating this particular part of the land, you keep beating it, cultivating it every year, never give it a break, it loses all its nutrients.
Yes.
Yes. You recall, Father, that in one of our publications, which I sent to you, we call this also a disease of nature and nurture. That's COVID-19, disease of nature and nurture, which is really very instructive. In that paper, we also pointed out some of these points that we have made about how we should also give our environment a chance.
A break.
And use this opportunity to repackage our activities. How we have been degrading on the environment. Yes. You have a way of coming back to us. That beyond just treating the disease, which is COVID-19, you should also look at the environment and look at the people who are suffering from this disease and look at their own livelihood.
Yes.
Not just to cure and you say that the job is done. No. You look at these people's condition, their state, and make sure that everybody is in a good state of mind. Solve the basic problem of people within the country. So today, the rich should see the poor person around him as also his problem. Because your driver who has COVID-19 comes in, will just infect everybody. Actually. Infect everybody.
Actually, so the driver comes in, infects everybody, the Oga dies of the disease, the driver is alive.
Survive.
This was our experience. Because we didn't have many drivers dying, but we had many Ogas dying. Showing that the driver could have had
immunity.
The rotten environment, the rotten gutters, had given the driver some antibodies. On this note, we will be bringing this program to an end. I've been speaking with Dr. Mrs. Perpetua Ibekwe and Professor Titus Ibekwe of the University of Abuja, and they have been highly involved in COVID-19 and responses, the medical responses that will be dealing with what are the opportunities, what are the challenges of COVID-19. It's been wonderful having you. We'll have you again to discuss.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Thank you.